3 men in suits, 1 black car, and a piece of paper that said James Hartley had no legal right to the girl he had raised for 7 years. He read it twice, then he folded it, handed it back, and said, "She's mine." Not loud, not angry, the way you state something that requires no argument because it is simply true. The man standing in his doorway was worth $4 billion. He had a law firm behind him and a DNA test in his briefcase, and the specific confidence of someone who had never been told no by anyone who mattered. He didn't say a word, not yet. But behind James, at the end of the narrow hallway, a 7-year-old girl in yellow socks had stopped walking to the kitchen. She stood very still, watching. Her name was Rosie, and she was listening to 2 men decide who she belonged to. She already knew the answer. So did one of them. Subscribe right now, because what happens in the next 20 minutes is going to change everything you think you know about what it means to be a father. And the moment the billionaire finally speaks, you will not be able to look away. James Hartley was 34 years old. He worked construction, Tuesday through Saturday, 6 in the morning until 3. His hands were always rough. His truck had a crack in the windshield he kept meaning to fix. He made enough, not more than enough, exactly enough. He had never planned to be a father. 7 years ago, his younger sister Maya had shown up at his door at 2 in the morning. 19 years old, 8 months pregnant, terrified. "I can't do it," she said. "I can't. He won't help. He doesn't even know. James, I can't." She meant the baby's father. She had never told James his name. He had never pushed. He let her in. He made her tea. He set up the couch with the good blanket. 6 weeks later, Rosie was born. And 3 days after that, Maya was gone. Not dead, just gone. A note on the kitchen table. "I'm sorry. Take care of her. You're better at this than I ever was." He had not heard from Maya since. He had kept Rosie. He had not kept her because it was the right thing to do. He had not kept her because he had carefully weighed his options and made a decision. He had kept her because she was 3 days old and she fit in the crook of his arm like she had been built for it. And she looked up at him with the unfocused gaze of something brand new in the world. And he had thought, okay then. No one came looking. He filed for guardianship. The court granted it. He was her emergency guardian, then her legal guardian, then the person who showed up to every parent-teacher conference and every doctor's appointment and every Halloween and Christmas and every Tuesday evening with homework he barely understood. He was her father. He had never used the word first. Rosie had. She had started calling him Dad at age 4. He had not asked her to. She had just decided. That was the only ceremony that had ever mattered to him. The man in the doorway said his name was Richard Calloway. James knew the name. Everyone knew the name. Calloway Industries, the towers downtown, the face on 3 magazine covers in the last year. "I understand this is difficult," Calloway said. His voice was calibrated, reasonable, the voice of a man accustomed to being the most reasonable person in any room. "I'm not here to cause disruption. I want to handle this properly." "You're holding a paper that says you want to take my daughter," James said. "That's not proper. That's a disruption." "Mr. Hartley?" A woman stepped forward from behind Calloway. Dark suit, tablet in hand. Attorney. "The DNA test is irrefutable. Mr. Calloway is Rosie's biological father. Under state law—" "I know what the law says." James had spent 3 nights reading it. "I also know she's been in my house for 7 years and he's been in this doorway for 4 minutes. Calloway's expression didn't change, but something moved behind his eyes. "I didn't know she existed," he said. "I know. Her mother and I—" He stopped. "It was brief. I was told there was no pregnancy. I believed it." He paused. "I would not have walked away if I had known." James looked at him. He believed him. He did not want to believe him, but he did. Calloway wasn't performing. He was a man who had received information 3 weeks ago that had dismantled something in him, and he was still walking around carrying the wreckage. That made it harder, not easier. "She's 7, James said. "She's been in this house her whole life. Her room is down that hall. Her drawings are on that wall. Her shoes are by that door because she always forgets to put them in the closet." He didn't move from the doorway. "You have DNA. I have everything else." Calloway looked past him, down the hall. Rosie had not moved, still standing there in yellow socks, watching. When Calloway's eyes found her, something happened to his face, something unguarded, immediate, the kind of thing no amount of money or preparation could prevent. He was looking at his daughter for the first time. Rosie looked back at him. Her expression was the careful, assessing look she used for new information. She cataloged things, always had. James had learned to recognize it. She was cataloging this man. "Who is he?" she said. Not to Calloway, to James. James crouched down, eye level, his default position for anything important. "Someone who wants to talk," he said. "You don't have to do anything right now, okay?" She looked at him steadily. "Is he going to take me away?" The attorney started to speak. James held up one hand, without looking at her. The attorney stopped. "No one is taking you anywhere without us talking about it first," he said. "That's a promise." Rosie nodded, once. She looked at Calloway one more time, filing him away. Then she went back to the kitchen. James stood, turned to the doorway. "Come in," he said, "without the lawyers." The attorney started to object. Calloway silenced her with 2 words. "Wait outside." She did not look happy about it. James watched her through the narrow window beside the door. She was already on her phone. He caught one word through the glass. Injunction. He felt it move through his chest. Cold. Specific. He knew what that meant. He had spent 3 nights reading custody law after the first letter arrived. An injunction could freeze everything. Could get a court date scheduled before the week was out. Could put Rosie in front of a judge before she understood what was happening. He had $0 in his savings account. His lawyer, a woman named Patricia who handled small estate matters for people in his neighborhood, had told him straight. Against Calloway's resources, a custody fight would be long, expensive, and uncertain. He had said, "I understand," and called her back the next day. Because understanding something and accepting it were different things. He closed the door. Calloway sat at the kitchen table. James made coffee because his hands needed something to do. Rosie sat at the counter doing homework, which meant she was listening to every word while pretending not to. James knew her well enough to know this. He said nothing about it. "How did you find out?" James asked. "Her mother?" Calloway wrapped his hands around the mug. "Maya contacted me 3 weeks ago. She said she needed money. She told me about Rosie as leverage." His jaw tightened. "I didn't pay her. I hired investigators instead." James looked at his coffee. Maya. After 7 years. "Is she okay?" he said. Calloway looked at him. Something shifted in his expression. He had not expected that question. "She's alive," he said carefully. "She has problems. I can help her access treatment if she'll accept it. That's a separate conversation." "Okay," James said. A silence. "She signed a document relinquishing her parental rights before Rosie was born," Calloway said. "My lawyers found it. It's valid." "I know," James said. "I have a copy." "You've been thorough." "She's my kid. Thorough is the minimum." Rosie's pencil scratched against paper. She was not doing homework. James could tell by the speed. She was drawing. She always drew when she was processing something large. "I looked into you before I came here," Calloway said. 7 years. Not a single complaint, report, or incident. Her school says— He stopped, started again. Her teacher said she is the kindest child in the class, that she checks on the kids who eat alone, that she once gave her lunch to a boy who forgot his and then told no one she'd done it. He looked at his hands around the mug. You did that. James said nothing. I came here today planning to file for full custody, Calloway said. I have 4 lawyers outside and a judge who owes me a favor and enough money to make this very difficult for you for a very long time. He said it without pride, as a statement of fact. I want you to know that. I want to be honest about what I was prepared to do. Why are you telling me? James said. Because I walked in and I saw her face. Calloway looked toward the counter. Rosie's back was to them. Her pencil was moving steadily. And I understood something I hadn't understood before I got here. That this isn't about what I'm owed, it's about what she needs. James set down his mug. He looked at the man across his table. The suit, the watch, the weight of resources behind every word. And underneath all of it, a man who was terrified of a 7-year-old girl. The same way James had been terrified 7 years ago in this same kitchen, holding 3 days of life in the crook of his arm. What do you want? James said. Calloway looked at him directly. I want to know her. That's different from taking her. Yes. Flat. Certain. I won't fight you for custody. I'm withdrawing that plan. What I want, if she's willing, is to be something to her. I don't know what yet. I know I don't get to decide that. The kitchen was quiet except for Rosie's pencil. Rosie set her pencil down. Can I get water? She said, not turning around. You don't have to ask, James said. I know. She got up, filled a glass at the sink, drank half of it, set it down, and looked at James for exactly 1 second. Just a look. Nothing in it, everything in it. Then went back to the counter. Calloway was watching her. He had not stopped watching her since he sat down. She looks at you like that, he said quietly. Like what? Like you're the fixed point. He said it carefully, like he was reading the words off something he didn't fully understand yet. My mother used to say some people are fixed points for other people. She meant it as a compliment. I didn't understand it until just now. James said nothing. James thought about what it would cost him to say yes, the disruption, the complicated explanations, the new presence in a life he had built carefully and quietly for 7 years. He thought about what it would cost Rosie if he said no. He thought, she deserves to make this choice herself. Rosie, he said. The pencil stopped. You've been listening. A pause, then, yes. Come here. She slid off the stool, crossed to James, stood next to him, shoulder pressed against his arm, the way she always stood when something mattered, using him as the fixed point. She looked at Calloway. Calloway looked at her. Neither of them spoke for a moment. Rosie was doing the cataloging thing, quiet, thorough, her own internal inventory of a new person. You're my biological father, she said. Calloway blinked. Yes. I learned about biological in science. It means DNA. Yes. Dad is my dad, she said. No anger, no drama, simple and certain, the way she said things she had already decided completely. That's not the same as DNA. Calloway opened his mouth, closed it. I know, he said. Do you have other kids? No. Did you want them? He stopped. I didn't think about it, until 3 weeks ago. Rosie considered this. Her head tilted the way it did when she was working something out. That's sad, she said. Not cruel, just honest. The specific honesty of a child who hasn't learned to soften hard things yet. That you didn't know about me. Yes, Calloway said. His voice was not steady. It is. Were you going to take me away from my dad? The room went very still. Calloway looked at James, then back at Rosie. That was the plan, he said, when I came here today. James felt something tighten in his chest. He had known. He had known from the moment the black car pulled up. But hearing it said to Rosie, directly, without softening, he had not expected that. Rosie looked at the man across the table. 7 years old, yellow socks, pencil still in her hand. Her expression didn't change. "What's the plan now?" she said. Calloway was quiet for a long moment. He looked at this child who had his eyes. James could see it clearly now, the same dark eyes, the same way of holding a question, and who had another man's steadiness, another man's calm, 7 years of being raised by someone who crouched to eye level when things were important. "I don't know," he said finally. The calibration was gone, just a man, just a true answer. "I think I was wrong about what I came here for." "Okay," Rosie said. She turned, picked up her drawing from the counter, crossed back to Calloway, set it on the table in front of him. It was a house, crayon, careful and specific, the way she drew real things, not imagined ones. 2 figures by the front door, a girl in an upstairs window. "That's our house," she said. "I was drawing it while you were talking. I started it when you came in." She looked at it. "I didn't put you in it yet because I didn't know where you went." Calloway looked at the drawing. He didn't speak. "I can add you," Rosie said, "but I need to decide where." She picked up her pencil, held it over the drawing, thinking. James watched her. He had seen this look 1,000 times, Rosie deciding something. She was slow about decisions, thorough. She did not change her mind once she had made them. "Not inside," she said, quietly, to herself and to both of them at once. "Not yet. That's for people I know." Calloway nodded. He didn't rush her. "But maybe," she tilted her head, "by the gate. On the outside of the gate. Like someone who might come in someday but hasn't yet." She drew a small figure, careful strokes. By the gate at the edge of the house, small but present. She held it up. "There," she said. "That's where you are right now." Calloway looked at the drawing for a long time. Then he looked at James. James said nothing. There was nothing to say. Rosie had said all of it. Then Calloway did something James had not expected. He reached into the breast pocket of the suit jacket, took out a card, set it on the table, not toward James, toward Rosie. "My number," he said. "You don't have to use it, but if you ever want to, talk or meet somewhere, or just ask me something, it's there." Rosie looked at the card, then at James. "Can I keep it?" she said. "Yes," James said. She picked it up, turned it over once, set it in the front pocket of her hoodie. "I might call," she said. "I don't know when, but I might." "Okay," Calloway said. "Is that enough?" she asked. "For now?" He looked at her for a long moment. "Yes," he said. "That's enough. For now." Calloway stood to leave. At the kitchen doorway he stopped. He turned to James. "She said, 'Dad is my dad,'" he said, quiet. She said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "It is," James said. Calloway looked at him, the look of a man measuring something he had badly miscalculated. "I came here today to take her from you," he said. "I want you to know I understand now what that would have meant, what I would have done." He paused. "I won't." "I know," James said. A silence. "You're not going to say anything else, are you?" Calloway said, not a question. "No," James said. The billionaire nodded, turned to leave. He walked down the hall. James followed. At the front door, Calloway paused, his hand on the knob, not turning it yet. "She drew me inside the gate," he said. "I saw." "You saw before I did." "I know her," James said. Calloway turned to look at him, man to man now. No lawyers, no briefcase, no black car logic. "I want to ask you something," Calloway said. "Ask. What would you have done if I hadn't backed down?" James looked at him steadily. "Fought you, every way I could, for as long as it took." "You would have lost." "Maybe." A pause. "She still would have known I fought." Calloway held his gaze for a long moment. Something moved through his face that James couldn't name. "I believe you," he said. He opened the door. "Mr. Calloway," Rosie said. He stopped. She was standing in the kitchen doorway behind James, yellow socks, drawing tucked under one arm. "When you come in through the gate someday," she said, "knock first, okay?" Something moved through Calloway's face. "Okay," he said. "And I like peach juice," she said, "in case you come for breakfast." He almost smiled, caught it, but not entirely. "Noted," he said. He walked down the hall. The front door opened. The black car was still outside. The 3 lawyers were still waiting. He said something to them James couldn't hear. One of the lawyers pulled out papers. Calloway took them and put them in his coat pocket without reading them. James watched from the doorway. The black car pulled away. He closed the door. Rosie appeared next to him, shoulder against his arm. "Is he going to come back?" she said. "I think so, someday." She nodded, thinking about this. "Is that okay with you?" James looked down at her. This child, 7 years of her. The crook of his arm at 3 days old. Every Tuesday, with homework he barely understood. Every Halloween. Every ordinary morning with cereal and a cracked windshield and shoes by the door. "Yeah," he said, "if it's okay with you." She leaned against him. "It's okay with me," she said. "I put him by the gate, not outside the gate, inside the gate." James looked at the drawing she was still holding. He hadn't noticed. She was right. The small figure was inside the gate, not on the outside, inside it, just barely, just at the edge. She had decided when she drew it. She had just taken a while to tell him. "You knew the whole time," he said. "I needed to see if he was going to be honest," she said, "when I asked if he was going to take me away." She looked at the drawing. "He told the truth. I decided then." 7 years old. James put his hand on the top of her head. The only language they needed for the big things. She leaned into it. Outside, an ordinary November afternoon continued without them. Cars, a dog barking, the sound of a neighbor's radio. Inside, a house with drawings on the wall and shoes by the door, and a cracked windshield parked outside, and a piece of paper in a small hoodie pocket with a number that might be called someday. And a man who had said 3 words this morning that required no explanation. "She's mine." He had not needed to say anything else. Rosie had said the rest. If this story moved something in you, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, who in your life chose you, not because of blood, but because they decided to. Because James didn't have to stay. He just did, every single day. And Rosie knew. She always knew exactly where people belonged.